up, everybody? Eric here, Driveline, world's okayest steering wheel holder, and I've kind of taken a week off from YouTube, I'll be honest with you. I totally intended to, I actually have a video or two recorded from when I was at the terminal, and but I've just, I just got into, man, when I'm working my way home, I just get into go home. Like that's my only objective. And I ended up getting I delivered to, I'm trying to think of where I was the last video. I think I was delivering in Oklahoma. I went to Oklahoma. And then I went up to Dodge City and picked up a load that was ready. It was actually ready when I got there. And I drove that to the terminal where it was getting repowered from the terminal because I was going to be driving home after I got a few things taken care of, which I was glad, man. It was a good paying load for somebody, but it had two drops at places that neither of which I was thrilled about. One was South Carolina, one was North Carolina, and just not receivers that I would be traditionally thrilled with. So great paying load though. So even though someone at the terminal had to pick up a load with two really shitty drops, at least it paid pretty good. I think after the split and everything, and I had quite a bit of deadhead, I think I had like 230 deadhead miles. I think they still got like $2.30 a mile out of it. But I got a couple things taken care of there, and then they were trying to get me to load out to go home, and I was like, nah, I'm just gonna bobtail. And I don't feel so bad about that after seeing that Lyle No Hippie Transportation had deadheaded all the way to Denver from the terminal. So I don't feel so bad for doing it because I do it. Instead of just fighting with loads and sitting there for 2 or 3 days, if I have to go to the terminal before I go home, man, if there's not something that's just like right away ready to go, I'm done. I'm out. So I did that, and I just got into I'm going home mode and just didn't want to make videos. So but today, I feel terrible. Right now, at this moment, I feel terrible for Jim, who drives my Peterbilt. God, I just feel so bad for him because he's on a load that was picking up from Wisconsin, delivering to Ohio, so that he could hopefully pick up in time to be at home on the morning of Christmas Eve. And he called today and is stuck on the side of the road as we speak, waiting for road assist, or we're not really sure what's going to have to happen, but he's got all kinds of air just blowing out around his brakes on one of his drives. And the air leak is so bad, and it was so sudden that the compressor just can't keep up with it. So he gets the alarm and all that. So it sucks because he's not that far from the Minooka terminal, but he just can't. It's just, he just can't do it. He's under heavy load. There's high traffic. Chicago, middle of a Saturday before Christmas. So he is currently, as of this moment, stuck, and he's going to have to be repowered too because they changed the 01 appointment on him, and he would have to do some sort of a split or something to be able to make it to the 90 in time. And so now he can't make that, so he's having to be repowered. So it's just chaos because this was the load that was going to be working him to the final load to make sure that he gets home for Christmas Eve. And now he's having that load repowered. So it just, the complexities out here on the road. People who don't drive trucks just don't get it. Like they'll just never understand. You're away from family, and that in and of itself is bad enough. as families prepping for Christmas and the holidays and all that stuff, and you're not there yet. But then you're kind of at the mercy of just things that you really can't control, that can throw your plans and everything sideways in a heartbeat. And like I've gone through that. I know what it feels like. And it just sucks because I'm powerless too. You know, I called the dispatcher we have a dispatcher that's training today. And this is his first Saturday. I'm like, hey, you know, I was kind of trying to talk him through some options to make this as painless as possible. And, you know, I'm a long ways away from that truck. So there's just not really anything I can do about it either. And the feeling of helplessness, and you're just at the mercy. You're just at the mercy of road assist. You're at the mercy of, is a mechanic going to be able to come out and get you rolling enough to get to the Minooka terminal? Is there going to be a tow involved? All 4 days before Christmas, you know? It's just a horrible feeling. And that's the shit I always say, when you're out, if you come out here and you do OTR trucking, you had better plan on, you'd better be able to deal with crisis management. And you'd better be able to, if you're not a problem solver, you'd better be able to become a problem solver, because I don't know what percentage of the job I would say, but it's a good percentage of this job is problem solving. Whether that be, you know, air leaks or especially in the cold and the winter, you know, keeping fuel in the reefer from gelling up, or keeping the trailer tires, keeping an eye on those. You don't know what the condition of the trailer or the tires, the air leaks in the trailer with it being cold. You're just constantly dealing with crisis management and problem solving, just constantly, even with your trip planning, because now Jim has a new set of problems. That is that he had worked through the problem of trying to get from Cheyenne, which, by the way, he had a big clusterfuck with the load that he took to Cheyenne from Texas, because he got caught up in that wind and that storm up there. And, you know, that was a cluster, and that load had to end up being repowered because they rescheduled the drop for like a week later, and he couldn't sit on a load for a week. So, you know, he goes through all this stuff going from Texas to Cheyenne, and then knowing that he has to work all the way from Cheyenne across to go home on the East Coast. And then he has this happen, you know. So it's just that whole journey from Texas up to Cheyenne to get home has been a series of problem solving, you know. So it's you'd better have your head right if you're gonna come out here and go OTR, because I think that's probably one of the big reasons I've seen so many people flushed out so quick, is because when things start going wrong with a truck and you get into this 3, 4, 5 week period of just things going wrong, if you're not mentally capable of just working your way through that and keeping your head straight, it can tear you up. It can really tear you up. It can eat you up and spit you out. And so, you know, bravo to all of you out there doing OTR, because it's not hard work. And Lyle also says that often. It's not hard work, but it's difficult in this whole other track. You know, it's not, I mean, flatbed would be different. There's certain parts of this that could be hard physical labor, but if you're doing reefer, like, there's not a lot of physical difficulty in doing reefer or dry van, but there's a lot of mental difficulty in it. So I think, you know, that's just something to keep in mind, because in the last week, in fact, I know a guy who, I don't know him, but we've been talking, who's coming to Prime. I think he starts orientation on the 3rd. And he's going to be getting to the terminal on the 2nd. And there's probably 2 or 3 other drivers I've been talking to over the last 2 weeks that are on their way, and they start the first or 2nd week of January. And these are the kinds of questions that they have, and these are my answers of, look, man, you know, come into this with a plan. whether that's a 3 or a 5 or a 10-year plan, whatever it is, have a plan and have a backup to that plan in case your first plan goes sideways. That's very important. Don't just come in this and find yourself 10 or 15 years into it with no idea of how to get out of it or where to go from there. And then B, have your head on, like, you better have your head level. And you better be able to deal with all the crisis that can happen at home while at the same time dealing with the crisis that can happen while you're on the road. And it's especially challenging and difficult when it's just 4 days before Christmas and you ain't home yet. So again, tip of the hat for all of you who do this, because it's not easy. But I will tell you, the last week has been great. I've spent really good time with my wife and son. My son is just, it's just magic when you're with your kids, you know, and I couldn't trade it for the world. I love every second of him, even the seconds that he's a roaring tornado, and makes you want to pull your hair out. I love those seconds too. So it's been good. It's just been a really good break. I know I had 3 weeks off leading up to Thanksgiving, and then ran for Thanksgiving, and you know, so I'll probably get out the very end of December. But speaking of that, I think, and I ran a poll on the community tab of my channel, and I have to go back and look at those numbers, but I think it was over half of you who responded. And there were quite a few. I think there was like 140 votes or something like that. Over half said they were going home for more than a week. I think, oh, and by the way, when I went to the terminal a week ago, when I went through the terminal, the guy that was inbound told me that he's been at Prime for years and years, and he's never experienced the amount of drop trailers, amount of drop loads that he's experiencing this time. He was like, dude, it's unbelievable how many people are going home. And this was a week ago, right? This would have been almost 2 weeks before Christmas. And he's like, it's unbelievable. Like, this guy's been at Prime for a long time. He's like, I've never known this many drivers to go home this much during Christmas. Usually it's a couple days, or you can see a good mix of people that are in and out. But he's like, everybody that comes through is dropping their loads and telling us that they're changed their PTA till, after Christmas. So I do think that there's a substantial amount of drivers that are just like, fuck this. They're just out they're leaving, going home for a week or more. And I do think that's a problem. I mean, Prime has really been hitting on that hard the last 2 weeks in the safety meetings. Hard. In the past few years, it's been, hey, if you're going to go home and enjoy your family, we get it. Go home and enjoy your family. If you want to run freight, we'll find something for you. This year, it's like, please, if you got to take a load home, maybe go home for a few days, go drop that load, pick up another one, then go home for New Year's. Like, I do think that there's a big shortage of trucks that are going to be out running freight this Christmas and New Year's. I really do think that. I basically everybody that I know, almost everybody that I know, and I know a lot of drivers are checked out. They're already checked out. And if they're not, they're on their way home right now and won't be going back out until New Year's or later. So, which, I know that freight needs to be moved, but I'm happy that people are going to be going. I'm happy they'll be with their families because it's so important. It's so important. And that's what I'm doing. And that's the most important thing to me. And I'll be going back out at the end of the year. So, that's about all the update I have for you guys. I'm just really not in YouTube mode. I mean, it's the end of the year and I feel like I've, pumped out quite a bit of content over the last few months, and, YouTube's been picking up and I've been getting a lot of new subscribers, and I definitely do appreciate that. But I'm just not going to dedicate a lot of time to it right now at this time when I should be spending time with my family. But I'll definitely be digging into it pretty heavy towards the end of the month and rolling into 2025. Crazy, 2025 already. So I hope all of you are doing well. If I don't talk to you again, Merry Christmas, everybody. Happy New Year. I hope everybody's enjoying some time out there with their families. If you're not, be safe. Make good decisions. Always drive to thrive. Talk to you guys soon.